13.4, the base e. How is the graph of g of x equals a times e to the x minus h plus k related to the graph of f of x equals e to the x? Now, so far we have studied when we had the base 2 to the x, we've studied 10 to the x, we've done 1/2 to the x, we have done 1/10 to the x, and today we're going to do e to the x. Now e is very similar to pi. You know that pi is 3.14 and then other numbers. Well, e is it's right there on page 751, right under the first table, 2.718. 2.718. Now it continues to go on. That number continues to go just like the pi number. It'll go on and on and on. Also on your calculator, if you will hit second, the blue button on the calculator, go over to the division sign on the far right. There's a little blue E above it. Second, E, and hit enter. You will get 2.71817 something something 281828. Okay, that's what E is. Any questions on that? All right, let's go through these real quickly. The transformations, this is the way that the graph moves. Look at number 1. When I do x minus 1, right here, we know that that is a horizontal translation. Horizontal translation by 1 unit to the right. What about x plus 1? It's a horizontal translation by 1 unit to the left. Letter C, when you add 2 at the end, that is a vertical translation by 2 units up. Remember, everything with the x is opposite, and everything at the end is normal. Letter D, if it's minus 2 at the end, it is vertical. It is a vertical translation by 2 units down because it says minus 2. Letter E is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2 because 2 is out in front of the E. Letter F is a vertical compression by a factor of 1/2. Letter G, a negative 2 at the beginning, is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2, as well as a reflection across the x-axis. Oops, x-axis. H is a vertical compression by a factor of 1/2, as well as across the x-axis. Seth, what's wrong with our video?
It says 10%
Low battery.
Yeah, 10%.
It's still going.
You're good. It's still gone.
Yeah, it's still going. We got 10% left.
Okay.
Just cut that out.
Okay, let's move on to your turn on page 756. It says to graph, given the graph, identify the reference points and use them to draw the graph. State the asymptote, the domain, and the range. Write the domain and range using set notation. So we are going to build us or make us a t-table once again. What are we doing to the x? Look right here. It says plus 2, but we're going to do what? Minus 2. X minus 2. And the y, we're doing what is out front, which will be negative y minus 3. Everybody see that? Any questions? Okay, now your 2 reference points that you're starting out with are going to be 0, 1, and 1e. So when you substitute e in for the y in a minute, you're going to have to use that button on your calculator to get your answer. So if I put a 0 right here for x, what will that give me? Negative 2. If I put a 1 in for y, what will that give me? If I put a 1 here, negative 4. If I put 1 in for x here, negative 1. And if I put an e where the y is, go on your calculator and put negative second e minus 3. And what do you get?
Negative 5.7.
Okay, negative 5.7. Now, plot those 2 points on your graph. Negative 5.7, right? Okay, plot those 2 points. So go over negative 2, negative 4, negative 1, negative 5.7. Now, I have a horizontal asymptote on this particular one. Where is that horizontal asymptote? Negative 3. It's whatever the k is. So I go down here to negative 3 and I draw a horizontal asymptote. And that's where I know how to draw my graph. Just like that. What's the domain? Heard somebody say it. What's my domain? All reals. What's my range? Y such that y is less than negative 3. And I think it asks for the asymptote. What is my horizontal asymptote? Y equals negative 3. Any questions? All right, number 4. Let's make a t-table. What is going to be here for my x? X plus 1. What about for my y? 2y plus 1. My points are 0, 1, and 1e. If I put 0 here for x, what is my value? 1. If I put 1 here for y, what is my new value? 3. If I put a 1 for x, my new value is 2. What about if I put e in for y? What do I get? What is 2 times e plus 1? 6.4? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, 6.4. So 1, 3, 2, 6.4, and where's my asymptote? 1. right here. So my graph will look like that. What's my domain? All real numbers. What's my range? Y is what? Greater than 1. And what's my horizontal asymptote? Y equals 1. Any questions on those? Okay, let's look at your turn on page 758. 758, your turn. Now we're going to write the equation. We're going to state the domain and the range in set notation. We know that K equals 1 because that's what my horizontal asymptote is, so that is my K. We are going to use the point that's closest to the asymptote. So I have a point here. Here's my asymptote and a point down here. This one right here is closest to the asymptote. So I'm going to use that point, which is -2, 0. That tells me that -2 is my H. Just like we've done before. This number right here is going to be equal to A plus K. So the second number, the Y value of that point, is going to equal A plus K. We already know K is what?
1.
So A plus 1 equals 0. A equals -1. So I know my A, I know my H, and I know my K. Well, I don't have to know a B this time because my B, my base is what? E. So I don't have to solve for B on this one. So I have all that I need. So G of X equals A times E to the X minus, which is minus -2, which will be +2, plus K. There's my equation. Any questions on the equation? What is my domain?
All real.
All reals. And what would my range be? Y is what? Less than 1. Now, you know it's going to be less than because of that sign right there. If that was a positive, it would be greater than. But that sign's a negative, which means it's less than. Any questions on that? Example 6 on page 758. What is my K?
-5.
-5. I'm going to use this point right here because it's closest to the asymptote. So that point right there is 1, -2. So I know that H is 1. And I know that A plus K equals, that number right there, -2. Everybody understand that? This is H, and this is A plus K. We know that K is -5, so A minus 5 equals -2. What does A equal?
3.
A equals 3. That's all you need to write your equation. G of X equals A times E to the X minus 1 minus 5. Domain, all reals, range,